Hello and welcome to Shout of the Apple. Today we're going to be going and recapping the most recent series between the New York Mets and the New York Yankees. The Mets took on the Dodgers in a 2-1 series affair. The Mets took one out of the three. Um, if there's anything I could definitely say from that series, I'd say that the Dodgers are clearly the better team. They're clearly the clear favorites to win the World Series for a reason. Um, I would say out of everything though, it's not like the Mets got completely like doged in their matchup against the the Dodgers. I feel like they were definitely competitive, and I mean they were able to take a game. So I mean it shows that they were able to at least keep it close against the Dodgers. Definitely the biggest thing to note in that win was Tyrone Taylor hitting a go ahead home run. So as his trade value starts to get higher. So I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say about that series. I mean, you had Nolan McLean versus Yamamoto. I mean, that was pretty cool. Uh, Yamamoto looked pretty damn good. McLean not as much. I mean, I think there's not a whole lot to say about the series, honestly.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that the Mets played them pretty well, which, to be honest, I would say they played them better than the Yankees did. The Yankees took one of the games they played against the Dodgers a few weeks ago to start the second half. Final scores 2-1, 8-2 were two losses, and they won 2-1. Um, so yeah, I mean, obviously the Dodgers now are a much different team than they are in October. They had the same plan last year. The injuries didn't really affect them because they had decent depth. As long as they get to the playoffs, they'll make their way to the World Series. Last year they were the four seed, I'm pretty sure. So it's definitely not full strength Dodgers right now, but the Mets did play them pretty well. When you look at the records, you definitely probably realistically would have expected a sweep. But yeah, Yamamoto was great again. He pitched against when he pitched against the Yankees, he pitched a shutout, not a shutout, but he did pitch a complete game. So there's something to talk about there with that guy. He's been pretty great since coming over to America and playing in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Yamamoto is one of the best pitchers out there for sure. I think he's a very good pitcher, and we're going to be seeing a lot out of Nolan McLean.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy the Mets should not be looking to trade. He should be an untouchable, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, he's been all right this year. Probably not as great as a lot of Mets fans were hoping. A lot of inconsistencies there, but he'll most likely take a big step next year. That's something to look forward to after such a devastating season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but I mean, if you definitely. I mean, you look forward. I mean, with the Mets, and you think what's next. I mean, there's a lot that you got to look forward to. I mean, just not in the sense of this season, but like next season. Like where will the Mets be down the line?
Yeah, I mean, this season, it's probably safe to say it's a wash at this point.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the trade deadline, it's less than, well, it actually is probably this time next week. I'm pretty sure will be 36 minutes after the deadline, if I'm correct. It's definitely next Monday. So we've got a week left of trade rumors and, whatever else goes down around this time of the year. But for next year, yeah, you have to just look at the younger players on this team. You're going to be missing Juan Soto for a while now this year, so hope that he's just fully healthy for next season. Um, Hope that Lindor can have a healthier season next year, assuming he's not going to get traded. Can't see that happening. So hope that he has a healthy year next year. Hope the two of them can lead the Mets to at least a playoff spot, better record. You hope that this time next year they're not selling at the deadline. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. There's so much we could talk about down the line, but I mean, there's just there's a lot that could really go on down the line. But I mean, like I said, there's really not a whole lot to talk about with the Mets. Um, so I think if there's anything you could really talk about is I think trades coming on down the line, but we'll get more into specifically like which players will get traded.
Yeah, that's definitely something we touched on last week, or I guess last episode with the Mets. We'll do more with the Yankees today. We can touch on the Mets as well. But yeah, so series loss for the Mets against the Dodgers. But I mean, taking one game honestly is a victory with the way
Yeah,
this season's gone.
at this point, that's all you can take from it is that we'll take that as a victory. Is I mean, the fact that they can get one win against them when they're clearly outmatched. Um, Definitely at least you get something out of it, I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll transition over to the Yankees unless you have any more comments about the Mets.
Nah.
Yeah, all right. So, well, the Yankees played at Philly, as you mentioned earlier. We talked about game one in the last episode. Quickly, just recap that one. They won that game 1-0. Cam Schlitter was great again. 7 1/3 innings pitched, gave up no runs, 3 hits, 12 strikeouts, and 0 walks. The one run that was scored that whole game was a home run by Paul Goldschmidt in the fourth inning, the 16th of the year off of Jesus Luzardo. Um, so that was game one. But game two, the Yankees did take that one as well. Another low-scoring game, 3-1. Ryan Weathers started. Coming to the series, it felt like you have Schlittler, who is going to go out there and pitch great, give the team a chance. Then you have Weathers and Warren, who have been huge question marks as of late. Both started the season pretty solid, but as of late they've been, uh, you know, they've had some pretty bad starts. But Weathers didn't do that. He actually gave the Yankees some length and a chance to win the game, which they did. He went 5 2/3, only giving up one run, with 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. First inning, um, Trey Turner was hit by a pitch, and then Kyle Schwarber hit a double, led to a Bryce Harper sac fly. So the Phillies were up 1-0 quickly, but that was the only run they'd score. Top of the third, Wells hit his seventh home run of the year. Top of the sixth, Cody Bellinger hit an RBI single. And at the top of the seventh, Jason Dominguez hit a homer. So the Yankees took that one 3-1. But in my opinion, the biggest story coming out of that game wasn't that the Yankees just secured a series win. It was that Cody Bellinger got hurt in the eighth inning. I believe he was rounding second base, or I think he was going from first to second on a double in the eighth inning. He left with left hamstring tightness afterwards, and we found out that he went on the. We found out we didn't know the severity of it, but we knew he wouldn't start Game 3 of this series, and then he was put on the injured list before Game 3. So that's a really tough blow for the Yankees. Came out today that he'll be out for about 4 to 6 weeks. So kind of the same thing with Trent Grisham, a little bit longer though. Um, but yeah, it's a really tough blow for this team. With Judge out, with Stanton out, Cody Bellinger and Ben Rice were your two best hitters left in the lineup. So now Belly's not going to be there for a little bit. The other guys aren't coming back within the next few weeks either. So, um, I think he's going to look for a lot of people to step it up. You're going to need Ben Rice to keep playing well. He's been hot the second half. You're going to need guys like Jason Dominguez, Trent Grisham, Jose Caballero, Jazz Chisholm. I mean, there's not really many names you can ask a lot of, but if just a few guys can step it up a little bit, try and replace the production as best they can. But it's going to definitely be a rough next few weeks without our, three of our best hitters in the lineup. Ben Rice can only do so much on his own. But Game 3, going into that game, you just lost Belly. Will Warren's on the mound. It felt like the Phillies offense was bound to break out after only scoring one run in the first two games combined, which they did. They scored 11. Will Warren only went 3 innings pitched, gave up 6 runs. some of that offense was highlighted by Trey Turner hitting a triple on the first pitch of the game. Will Warren did keep it in check, though, only giving up a sac fly to Schwarber to let that run score. So that was good to see from him. And a lot of times when he gets in a situation like that, he'll very quickly crumble, but that didn't happen, at least in the first inning. But then after that, second inning, Bryson Stott hit a homer, put the Phillies up 2-0. And then the third, Alec Boehm hit a bases clearing double, put them up 5-0. So at that point, it was, kind of seen as the Yankees were going to come back. But they did fight a little bit. I mean, they did make it a 6-3 game at some point. The Yankees' offense was highlighted by Anthony Volpe hitting two doubles off Christopher Sanchez, one of them being an RBI. And then Ben Rice did hit a home run later in the game, his 31st of the year. But, yeah, that wasn't enough. So the Yankees take 2 out of 3 in Philly. It's a series win, but it doesn't really feel like a win because, like I said, you lost Belly, and now the Rays also won every game that they just played. So the Yankees are now another game back in the division, 3 games back. So it doesn't really feel like a win, even though they did technically take the series.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely got the job done. They were both tight games and they were both close games. So I mean, I definitely would argue. I mean, it definitely is still a solid win, a solid series win. But it definitely hurts a little bit, knowing that you will lose Bellinger for a foreseeable amount of time. And I mean, they did lose the last game a little rough, but I mean, they kind of just were looking to win the series. And the Phillies were kind of just looking to finally just break and get a win, which they did. So, I mean, I guess it works out for everyone.
Yeah, Christopher Sanchez versus Will Warren is a really tough pitching matchup, especially with the way both of those guys have pitched this year and as of late. So, yeah, going into that game, it was hard to see the Yankees winning, but yeah, the Phillies offense broke out, like I said. So, but Will Warren, it could have been his last start as a Yankee. We'll see what happens in this next week as trades go down. He might not even be with the team, or even if he is, he might end up in the bullpen, or who knows, maybe even AAA if the Yankees add a starter or two, which I don't think they need. It could help, but there's priorities in other places, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I want to just real quick, I looked this up. I want to break down Will Warren by the month because in the beginning of the year, we were complimenting him a lot, or at least I was. He looked like he finally had put more together. He was having solid starts. Um, in March, he had just one start, 2.08 ERA. By April, he had 27 innings pitched, 2.67 ERA. So around that time, we were, giving compliments. It looked like he maybe found something from his first few years that were pretty rough. But then it's been rough since then. May, 3.82 ERA in 33 innings pitched. In June, a 5.49 ERA in 19.2 innings pitched. And now in July, so far, in 18 innings pitched, 7.5 ERA. So it's gotten worse every month. It's not really a great sign. Usually you look for your starting pitching or just any player in general to get better as the season goes on. But it's been the opposite with Will Warren this year. So, um, yeah, there's not much to really say about him besides you hope that he's not starting games in October, barring injuries. That definitely should not be the situation at all. Um, so I don't know if there's anything you want to say about that, but I just saw that and that was really interesting to me. I mean, every month his ERA just kept going up and up, and that's ERA just by the month, not by the whole season. So it's an interesting case there.
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to say anything, I think I guess that's a perfect example of how fatigue is. There's players who get better as the season goes on, and there's players who get worse as the season goes along. So, there's that's definitely something Weathers will probably work on down the line.
Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even consider fatigue, to be honest. I just kind of considered in my head. Um, yeah, maybe there was something in spring training or over the off season that he had worked on that gave him a great start to the year. But at least what I can say is throughout the whole season, he's been available. He's started basically every start that he's had. So that's a good thing with injuries with his pitching staff full of injuries and stints on the injured list, it's great to have a guy who at least can start every 5 days, and that's the same thing with Ryan Weathers too. So of course, and Cam Schlittler, but that's not even by far his biggest contri- what contribution to the team this year.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I just want to touch on that. I thought that was pretty interesting. But the Yankees will head to Chicago. They play the Cubs later. They play the White Sox now. So it's a one city road trip following Philly. Two teams, one city. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on there. Two solid teams. In this series against the White Sox, the Yankees have Cam Schlittler pitching. Well, go by order. Max Fried tonight. Ben Garrett Cole, Cam Schlittler, Ryan Weathers. So it's going to be great to see those three guys finally pitch in a series together. But I
Yeah,
guess we
I'm
can.
looking to see Max Fried again. Looking forward to see him pitch again. He's
Yeah.
gonna. I mean, he was very, very, very good for the Yankees last year. So we're gonna see more and see how much he'll settle uh, in this future start against the White Sox. And then you have the Mets coming back and continuing their homestands, and they're gonna be playing Atlanta. You'll have Zach Thornton back on the mound, so we're gonna be seeing more of the prospect and seeing what more he can bring to the table.
Yeah. That'll be definitely interesting. Like I said earlier, you want to look forward for next year. As a Mets fan, so you want to see some of your prospects, some of your younger players, see what they can do. So this is definitely a great chance over these next 2 months for younger stars to come up, or I should say, younger players, prospects to come up and look to become stars for the Mets this season and the rest of the season and next. So I guess what's going to give them that chance will be trades. Deadline, of course, next Monday, we said already. So we talked a little bit about the Mets and what they should do in the last episode. This one, I guess we can do both, but we'll talk a little more about the Yankees. I want to start off by saying if there's anybody out there who seriously thinks to themselves that the Yankees should be sellers, I really don't know what to tell you. You should probably just stop watching the sport. I can't believe I've seen some people say that, to be honest. It's interesting. Uh, but yeah, the Yankees have a great team when fully healthy. Hopefully, that's what we get in October. But it's a lot to ask for, to be honest, looking at what's happened so far this year. Um, but their biggest weaknesses and what I believe their biggest targets should definitely be catcher. Um, Definitely need a right-handed catcher, or even just a catcher in general who can start these games because there's really been not a lot of offensive production out of the catching position for the Yankees this year.
Yeah.
JC Escarra, he's pretty great in AAA right now. His numbers look good, but if we've seen him in the majors, it's not going to cut it, especially in October. Ali Sanchez has been the backup for a little bit now, or honestly a platoon at this point. Um, a righty. He was the first righty catcher the Yankees had since Jose Trevino in 2024. So the fact that we went a whole season and a half without a righty bat to fill in the catching position is quite insane. But he's been solid, but that's probably not also going to last, to be honest with you. And then you have Austin Wells, of course, who has been the starter the last few years. He's dealt with an injury this year, but the offense has just not been anywhere near where it's supposed to be. So you definitely do need a catcher. It's basically been auto out at that position for a majority of the year. Like I said, Ali Sanchez has had some solid games. I mean, he started yesterday and he went 2 for 4 with two singles. So he is getting on base a little bit more than the other two are, but still, uh, definitely need a righty catcher. So some of the targets there would be first off, I think, in my opinion, the best catcher who the Yankees could have traded for would have taken a lot. It would have taken his team wanting to trade him to begin with, but Shea Langoliers, but he's now out for the rest of the year, so that's not going to happen. Um, Realistic targets, honestly, is probably just Ryan Jeffers and Hunter Goodman. Maybe they'll find somebody else. They seem to do that, but I don't know um, which one they'll go for, to be honest with you. They're both righties. They're both having great years. Jeffers he's had an injury this year at some point, but he would be a rental. While as Hunter Goodman, I think he has like 3 years left on his deal after this, so um, he'll definitely cost more. But I want to ask you a question. Uh, Ryan Jeffers is on the Minnesota Twins, and as of now, the Twins are a game out of a wild card spot, just behind Cleveland. So, do you think that they should sell or that they will sell? And I mean, if they do, of course, Jeffers will be one of the first guys to go, being that he's a rental.
Who?
Ryan Jeffers on the Twins.
On the Twins. Okay. So the Twins are an interesting spot because they're kind of in striking distance right now. They've been
Yeah, getting
sellers
back.
kind of most of the year, but now they're starting to play well as time's gone on. I think I think he's an easy person to trade away because he's a rental. I think you're I think if you're the Twins, you could sell, but sell smart. Like
Yeah,
maybe
I
not
mean
sell the big names and just sell like some smaller pieces.
that's definitely a strategy that they can take. I mean, yeah, it's just we've talked about this too. It's just you look at the American League and there's just so many underperforming and weak teams. A team can, catch some fire and run through the playoffs and make their way to a championship series or even a World Series, but um, that also the Twins are a game out. Who's to say that the Mariners or the Astros or even the Orioles, who are all within 2.5 games of a wild card spot, aren't going to get hot and hop right over them? So the Twins, like you said, are interesting. While Jeffers was out, they didn't really fall off. They stayed in it. Game out now. They do have other names, Buxton, Joe Ryan. These are guys who, Joe Ryan's a great starter. He can, on his own, win you game one of a wild card series.
Yeah,
So,
Joe Ryan was somebody that was a trade target for the Mets for a while last off season. So I know a little bit about him. So he definitely is a big trade target. That will definitely be looked out for. But yeah, I think the Twins to move on from Buxton also is going to be interesting because I mean he's been a big face of their franchise for a while. So I do wonder if they do decide to move on from him because that
yeah,
definitely
there's
would
been
be a big change in the franchise.
for sure, and there's been a few off seasons and deadlines now. There's been a lot of talk about the Twins possibly trading Buxton, but he has I'm pretty sure there's a full no trade clause on his contract, and he said multiple times he does not want to leave Minnesota. But I mean, you'll never know what can happen. Maybe they'll have a deal in place with a contender, and he'll want to leave. But yeah, Buxton I don't think is a target for the Yankees, to be honest. I have actually seen some talk about that, but I don't think that's realistic. Um, but yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit in the last episode about rentals on the Mets who could possibly be leaving um, in this next week. But the Yankees definitely could use some rotation help. I mean, not rotation help, bullpen help. The rotation's fine as long as we're healthy. Rodon should be back within the next few weeks, I believe. So hopefully everybody else can keep their arms and legs intact, and we'll have a healthy rotation heading into October. But yeah, man, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to trades, but there's so little that we know. A lot of teams a week out still think they have a chance and still believe they can, uh, still believe that the rosters they have can get them to October and maybe deep into it. So it's really hard to see who's available and who's not. But we can definitely
Yeah,
talk about
this is one of the
weaknesses.
this is one of the few trade deadlines I feel like where it's pretty hard to say who's going to be who. Especially in the American League, I feel like because there's just teams that are like there's not a lot of there's only a small sample of teams that are like out of it like they have no shot.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, for a lot of this year, it looked like the Red Sox were going to be out of it. They were one of the worst teams um, to start this year, but they now have the second wild card spot. So
Yeah, they're having their 2024 Mets season.
yeah, I mean, they're only 7.5 games out of the AL East. So while I think that's unrealistic, it could happen. But yeah, they can definitely land themselves a playoff spot as they have a wild card spot now. So yeah, I mean, we've seen it so many times where a team can just catch fire in late September and steal a playoff spot and head into October and go deep. I mean, the Tigers, of course, are definitely one of those teams in 2024. I forget how far they went. Pretty sure they just got to the division series, but they lost to Cleveland in the division series. But uh, yeah, I mean, it can happen with anybody. Both leagues, honestly, are pretty weak. It's something we've talked about in the past, how weak the whole league is this year. So
Yeah, like there's because of the whole league being weak, it's given these teams a lot of sense of false hope.
for sure, yeah. So catching is definitely the biggest conversation surrounding the Yankees and the trade market right now. So touch on some of those guys. But yeah, other positions that they can improve at are they can always add a starter, but in October you only really need four starters. So I think we have our four guys. You know, Carlos Rodon's a pretty damn solid fourth starter in October. Bullpen was their biggest weakness heading into the season, but the bullpen has shown that they can uh they can have really good games in there. So there are some really solid arms in there. Um, so we have guys like David Bednar, Fernando Cruz, Tim Hill, uh, Angel Shavihi has shown up recently and pitched pretty solid. Paul Blackburn this whole year has been pretty great, which is quite surprising to be honest. Uh, I remember when they re-signed a lot of people, including Yankees fans, were clowning on the organization for bringing
He
him
was
back.
back.
Um,
He was back, bro.
yeah, but I mean, he's as a bullpen arm, he's been pretty solid for the Yankees this year. To be honest, I mean, he pitched some point in the series, I believe. I forget which game it was, but that doesn't matter. So they could use some bullpen help. There's been talks surrounding Mason Miller. That package is going to be insane going back to San Diego, and that's if they even decide to trade him. So yeah, there has been some reports that he's the Yankees' number one target. Brian Cashman apparently really wants him. They did try to get him last year, the deadline from Oakland, or I guess Sacramento, but that didn't happen. He ended up going to San Diego. So yeah, it's interesting what they can possibly do there. A package for Miller would be insane. Yeah, that would definitely include. I mean, they want a lot of major league ready starting pitching, is what they say. So, I mean, I feel like Lombard has to be involved in that trade. The Yankees' number one prospect, which they seem unwilling to trade away to any package. But they could
Would you be
also.
okay? Would you be okay with him going?
That's a tough question. Prospect hugging has hurt the Yankees a lot over the past. I mean, honestly, it's hurt them for a long time. Uh, since 2017, I feel like every single time there's a chance for them to make a huge trade and one of their top prospects is involved, they seem to just shy away from it and not do it. So you've seen a lot of guys come up and not really, the guys who they didn't want to trade away come up and they don't really pan out the way they're supposed to. So in that sense, I would definitely be willing to. But he has a lot of potential. I mean, his numbers are pretty solid this year. He tore apart Double A when he was there to start this year. Got the call to Triple A. Started off pretty slow, dealt with an injury, but since then he's been really great there. Um, Underlying numbers really great. They've been saying his defense is major league ready for a while now, so they're just waiting for the bat to come around. There's also talk that he could be up, starting shortstop for the Yankees at some point in the next few weeks if he's not traded. So I don't know. That could be just a lot of talk from the Yankees front office trying to hype him up even more. We've seen it countless times. Most recently was Caleb Durbin. The Yankees hyped him up a lot after the 2024 season, talking about how he's going to be on the open day roster. He's going to be the starting second baseman or third baseman for the team heading into 2025. And then all of a sudden he was dealt for Devin Williams from Milwaukee. So, that could be the same situation here. They're trying to hype him up, raise his value a little bit to try and, get him in a throw him into a trade and have a lesser package go along with him. But personally, I think if the Yankees can get someone who's going to help this team, which is obviously what it would take, I think they should. I think they should pull the trigger. We're in a situation where I think the Yankees have to win now. We've spent too many years of not winning in a row. Um, you got guys like Aaron Judge, Giancarlo
Yep.
Stanton, Garrett Cole, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon. These guys are all they're aging. Contracts are up within the next like 5 years. Some of them. Um, you don't know how long you'll have this opportunity in this window. So I really feel like they should be in win now mode as best as they can, and especially like we keep commenting on the weak league all around. Um, it's not out of the possibility for the Yankees to just run straight through the American League playoffs and get to the World Series, and then we'll see who they're facing off there. That'll be obviously a tougher opponent, but yeah. So
And it could not be. You never know.
yeah, I mean they could end up not winning the AL East. They're currently 3 games back. So yeah, I mean they could not win the East. They could end up with a wild card spot and then get knocked out in 2 games.
Well,
But
I was more talking about like if they who they're. I was more talking about their opponent. I was saying like their opponent could not be a tougher opponent. It could be
oh yeah,
that went on a run and it's a wide open chance for the Yankees to win a
for sure.
championship.
Yeah, but I feel like also as well if let's just say a team like let's say a team like the Diamondbacks are they have a wild card spot right now. Say they hold on to that and they end up beating the Dodgers and they make it to the World Series. I feel like a team like that is much scarier, to be honest. I mean, do you know? I mean, they'd have to be on such an insane hot streak. They'd have to be playing so well at that moment. You never know, but that's of course 2 months ahead of us. Um, we're a week away from the deadline, so I don't know what more there is to really say. I feel like we have to wait until the last few days are going to be the most interesting because, of course, that's when more teams are going to declare or their actions will show that they're selling or they're buying. So,
Mhm. Yeah, and it'll
yeah,
really be interesting to see what teams decide to sell and what teams decide not to. I think there's some teams. It'd be kind of ridiculous if they didn't sell. Like
for sure.
I think sometimes you just got to look at it and just be realistic with yourself. Like this team is not good enough to win anything. So, but hey, time will tell, right? Well, we will definitely see what is going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, so there's not too much to say there. Talked about some of their targets, positions that they could use some help in. I guess I should touch on the middle infield as well. There's been also, a little bit of rumors surrounding possible help there. Luis Rise has been a name circled around the Yankees
Oh yeah,
for a while. I mean, for years, people wanted him on this team, but even now, the Giants are pretty much out of it. So
that'd be
there's been a
that's
little bit of
a.
talk there.
But are the Padres? Are they even going to trade? Are they going to trade away their guys? Who knows?
Well, he's on the Giants now. He signed with them this year, and they're 10.5 games out of the wild card spot, so they're basically out of it.
Oh,
Um,
I completely forgot.
I'm not sure what his contract looks like. Yeah, you're good. It's hard to keep track of all these players who aren't even on our teams all around the league. But uh, yeah, so there's just been talk with him. Of course, that leaves you with the question of what do you do with Jazz if you do trade for a second baseman? If you trade for a shortstop, it's not that hard to replace who you have there because you basically have Volpe and Caballero splitting time. Um, so yeah, there's other names where the Marlins, if they're on a pretty bad losing streak right now. Uh, they're currently on a 12-game losing streak, but they're only 3 games out of a wild card spot. So who knows what they're going to do? Um, yeah, Xavier Edwards, Otto Lopez, 2 names who could be traded to the Yankees. But the biggest middle infield name that I've seen was C.J. Abrams from Washington. Um, I saw that I forget who it was or where I saw it, but there was a report on a possible package saying that a package for George Lombard Jr. and Anthony Volpe could get the job done for C.J. Abrams on the Yankees. So I guess they could be trying hard there. Um, his career numbers, his underlying metrics aren't the greatest. He's definitely having a great second half so far and a great year in general. So, well, I guess we'll have to see. Like I keep saying, it's tough to talk about this now when there's so many teams you don't know if they're trading their guys. There's so many positions that could be upgraded. Um, but yeah, so I think that's it for the Yankees for now. We'll definitely have a much better idea next time we're on here as to who the targets are. But yeah, when it comes to the Yankees, I think that's it. That's all I gotta say. Hopefully we have a great deadline. I just feel like you have to go all out. You have to add to the best you can. This is really a great shot for this team to try and win it this year. So I feel like
Yeah,
all around this is the greatest team they've had since Aaron Judge debuted. To be honest, so in the whole Judge era, I think this is the best team we've had, and the best shot too. When you look around the league,
this is better than the team from 2 years ago.
for sure, that team had a lot of holes. I mean, the offense being led by Judge, Stanton, Soto, that was huge. In October, you had other people step up. Um, Luke Weaver stepped up as the closer for a little bit. That was fun. The rotation was okay, but I mean, you had Luis Gil starting games in the World Series. You know, now our four starters are Rodon, who was our number two starter back then. So I do feel like this team is all around much better with more depth, less holes. Uh, you have more guys who can move around to different positions when needed. Um, a full strength bench is going to be better too because you're going to have speed off the bench, which they didn't really have that year. I mean, I'm pretty sure their go-to pinch running guy was John Birdie. So, you're going to have guys like Max Schumann, Jose Caballero, Anthony Volpe, depending on who's starting in what game or not, who's on the roster. But yeah, I do fully believe this is the best team they've had.
Yeah, I mean, I guess then we'll see if this team lives up to the expectations that you have, man.
I mean, I don't know if I have crazy expectations. I mean, I would love to see this team go on a run. The way they're playing now is rough. I think if you ask me in like, I don't know, if you ask me going into September, I'll be able to tell you if I fully believe this team is going to win the World Series or not. Right now, I think they're more than capable of doing it, but do I think that they will? I honestly don't know. I mean, they're rough right now. Uh, Injuries, guys can come back late. Might not even be able to have enough time to heat up before October starts. So another thing we have to wait and see about. But yeah, I mean, even last year, I think last year's team was better than the 2024 team. And last year we got knocked out in the division series. So, we didn't get as far as that team did, but we also had to get through tougher teams that year in 2025. So,
All right, well then,
yeah.
in that case, then I mean, we'll see then. We will definitely see what this Yankees team brings if this team finally gets over the hump. If this team finally is the team to bring it back.
Yeah, I hope so. Because I don't know, might not even have baseball next year. And then at that point, you wait
Yeah,
until 2028.
that's a
2028, you have older players, you have expiring contracts. So,
that's another reason why they definitely want to win it all this year.
for sure.
From the fact that you might not even have baseball next year they go all the way and they lose in the World Series and then there's no baseball next year. I mean, that's gotta be a really shitty feeling.
hmm Yeah, for sure.
So,
Well,
that being said, I do not think there is anything really whole left to say. I think next episode we will get more in depth about the Mets selling than
mhm.
because we talked about the Yankees buying. So we'll get more into depth about the Yankees or about the Mets selling and who the Mets could trade off and what players that they could have because they're one of the few teams that are going to clearly be sellers. So we'll get into that, Ryan.
Yeah, for sure. Touched on it a little bit in the last one. We did mention some names, but yeah, definitely. I think it'll be fun to talk about who the Mets could even trade some of these players to. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, definitely who they could get traded to for sure. So with that being said, this is the Shadow Island podcast, another episode in the books, a quarter of episodes now. So episode 25 officially in the books. We'll be back for the next series, and we will see you then. So once again, this is Dylan, this is Ryan. See you in the next one.
Let's go Yankees.
And let's go Mets.